Just make sure it's cooked properly. It did a straight. One person can make a difference. In and around Rotary, you hear these words. One person can make a difference. Today, we're going to hear about one very special difference. We have Morgan Weinberg from Whitehorse, Yukon, with us today via Zoom to tell us about the organization she founded, Little Footprints, Big Steps. Joining with her is Sarah Forrest from Toronto, who is a member of the board of directors and their former director of philanthropy and development. Little Footprints, Big Steps is a non-for-profit organization and a registered Canadian charity that works to protect vulnerable children in Haiti by reuniting families and empowering them with the resources and opportunities to build a self-sufficient future. I'm going to play a short video clip from a documentary about Morgan and how it all started.
My name is Morgan Weinberg. I tell people about my story, how I first went to Haiti as a volunteer. What I do want is people to understand how much we can impact other people's lives. But I don't want people to go and do what I did.
So, information.
That's there.
Most of the things is a little bit like an everything of good intentions, but it's a recipe for disaster.
Goodwill and making some good, but the chances are.
The orphanage system in Haiti is very much a business.
The ultimate big that they had. I didn't have food and I was reason I left. Just think about that. Really going into a situation that we don't know to do what we think can help.
I'm shutting the orphanage down. I mean, the objective is to rescue the kid. Things that will. Being too ashamed to actually look in the mirror and using that as an opportunity to do better.
It's not the bad thing to be coming with a zero. But where, in where do you want to shape it as we can see?
If you could go back in time, the big lesson that I should have learned was the importance of not being driven by your own ego emotions. It's not really anything as it seems.
Morgan grew up in Whitehorse, and after graduating valedictorian, she went to Haiti for the first time at 18 years old. She volunteered following the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. In 2011, she returned to Haiti and spent half a year living alongside the children in a severely neglectful orphanage. She discovered that not only was the orphanage corrupt and abusive, but the children living in it almost had all living families. Shortly after, Morgan co-founded the organization Little Footprints, Big Steps, and worked with locals to reunite those children, as well as others, with their families and advocate for their well-being. She has been working full-time in Haiti ever since. As the executive director, Little Footprints, Big Steps works to keep families together by addressing the root cause of separation and poverty through programming, child well-being and development, family and community development, advocacy of children's rights, and medical outreach. Morgan Weinberg has been honored with Canada's Meritorious Service Cross Medal, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal from Rotary International, Paul Harris Fellowship Award for Humanitarian Impact, the prestigious Wilf Wilkinson Peace Award. Morgan was the first youth to receive the Yukon Commissioner Award. Was recognized in Washington as a finalist for the Burger Marx Foundation for Young Women Impacting Social Justice. Was the recipient of Haven Organization's William Jefferson Clinton Goodwill Haiti Award in Dublin, Ireland. She's been a keynote speaker at the United Nations Youth Assembly and many other conferences globally. The three Barrie Rotary Clubs have a history of supporting supporting projects in schools in Haiti. In 2012, the Barrie Rotary Club made a commitment to spend $50,000 on worthwhile projects in Haiti. Projects in Haiti were proposed and vetted by a tri-club committee made up of members from the Kempenfeld, Coronia, and Barrie Rotary Clubs. Our club has spent about half the funds earmarked for Haiti. Doug Manning, our West Coast satellite operation, which I believe Doug's on Zoom today, has led our club on many projects in Haiti and has spent the past couple of years looking for a safe and deserving organization. Amidst all the political, social, and often violent unrest in Haiti, Doug hit the proverbial jackpot when he came across the organization Little Footprints, Big Steps. Having found Morgan and her organization and finding them still providing their solutions for children and families after 14 years since Morgan first visited Haiti, well, let's just say it's a blessing. With Doug's research on Little Footprints, Big Steps, and Morgan and her team submitting 2 proposals on funding requests, the Barrie Rotary Club Board approved spending $20,000 of the park funds to Little Footprints, Big Steps this past September. Yes, Haitians are enduring more than anyone should to live life, and it's very challenging for the communities Little Footprints, Big Steps works with. Yet that's not the whole story. In Haiti, children and families continue to learn, to grow, and to dream. With our club's donation, I feel we can help keep their dreams alive. Morgan and Sarah will now share us with their goals and ideas for Little Footprints, Big Steps. Please welcome Morgan and Sarah.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, you're making me emotional just with the introduction. Thank you. I really appreciated the last quote that you shared as well. A lot of people tend to get overwhelmed with the negative news they hear about Haiti in the news. But, you know, after living in Haiti and working with our team on the ground, the reality is that whatever challenges the Haitian people are facing, life doesn't stop. They have to keep going. It just gets harder. And so it's an opportunity for us to stand alongside them in that. But thank you so much. It's really such a pleasure. I'm so glad we're able to connect with your club. I wish it could be in person, and hopefully one day we can connect in person. But I was so overwhelmingly grateful by the news that you have chosen to support our two proposals. And I'm so glad that we have the chance to explain more about our programming and our work so that you can have an understanding of just how much of an impact your donation is going to have for children and families in Haiti. And it's also just always such a pleasure every time I have the opportunity to connect with a Rotary Club. I've had the privilege of connecting with Rotarians in many different places, including in Haiti, and they're always very genuinely kind people. So without further ado, I'll get started. I do have a little presentation, so I'll share my screen. And Sarah Forrest, who, as was mentioned, used to actually be our Director of Philanthropy and Development and is now on our board of directors, is going to help me just in introducing the organization.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It's such a pleasure to join you via Zoom. And I want to echo Morgan's sentiments and say thank you for such a beautiful and moving introduction. I'm just beyond grateful for your generosity. We're so excited to be able to use those funds for these programs. And we're going to be telling you more today about exactly what our programs consist of. And you'll be able to see what you're funding, the great work that is being made possible because of your funding. So again, just thank you all so much. And I do just want to shout out Doug. Doug, thank you so much for connecting with us. You found us and we had great conversations, and it was because of you that we're here today and that we're partners in this work with you. So thank you very much. So I will give a bit of an introduction to the organization. So even though you did a fabulous introduction already. So as mentioned, our goal and mission is to protect vulnerable children in Haiti by reuniting families and empowering them with resources and opportunities. A couple of the core issues we work toward, one is the exploitative orphanage system, which I know Morgan will speak more about. And then again, just really, we want to be raising awareness globally about child protection issues. And that's why doing these types of talks with clubs like yours is so, so important to us. A little bit of history. As again mentioned, Morgan first traveled to Haiti in 2018 as a volunteer. While there, she discovered really what we refer to as the dark reality of the orphanage system in Haiti, particularly that 80% of children in orphanages have living families. And that figure is not just true to Haiti, but globally, worldwide. And we've referred to these children as poverty or economic orphans because they're not separated from their families because they don't have parents. They're separated because their families often cannot afford to support and care for them. So these orphanages are really running as a for-profit business. They're exploiting children so that they can receive foreign aid. There are a number of harmful outcomes of children being raised in institutions. And something that's important to point out is that even in institutions where, you know, they might meet minimum standards of care, they might not be one of the bad ones, so to speak. Children are always safer in a family environment. Their emotional development, their physical development, everything is, you know, the outcomes are far, far better in a family environment. So it's something that we do want to advocate for as well when we do these talks, that family reunification is always the goal. And that brings me to that positive change really is possible. There is this growing movement. We're part of that growing movement where we're working towards this process of deinstitutionalizing children. There are over 30,000 children in Haiti living in Haitian orphanages. 80% of those could be reunited with their families. And so that's what we're working toward, and that's what your funding is going to allow us to do.
I just want to add some context to that. Thank you, Sarah. But, you know, I often get asked about, is positive change and progress really possible in Haiti, or is it really happening? You know, I lived over a decade full-time in Haiti, and it's so amazing because over that time span, I've had the privilege to be able to see this family care movement happening. And social change takes time, but it is possible. And I've quite literally seen this incredible transformation and social movement where when I first went to Haiti in 2010 and started LFBS in 2011, the mentality, both of a lot of people on the ground in Haiti and globally, was that, you know, if parents are too poor to care for their children, we should send them into orphanages and support them in orphanages. But it doesn't make sense that a child would have to be separated from his or her family because of poverty. And it actually makes so much more sense, both for the development of the child, for the development of the community, and even economically to support a child within his or her family as opposed to in an institution. And I've seen such a powerful movement where the Haitian government in 2018 banned any new orphanages from opening in the country and started a foster family system. So children who could not be reunited with their families could be placed in foster families, and started to regulate the orphanages that already exist. And where a lot of organizations that have been supporting orphanages started transforming their programs. And now organizations that used to be running orphanages are starting to approach organizations like ours, asking for support to reunite those kids and learn how to support the children and their families instead. So it's really coming full circle. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done with that regard, but it's amazing to see, yes, incredible positive change in the actual social movement towards family-based care in Haiti. And I'm quite proud also that we've been able to play a significant role in that. So as was already mentioned several times, you guys know how the organization started. But I really had a firsthand way of learning about the orphanage systems because I actually spent about 5.5 months living in a Haitian-run orphanage where child trafficking, physical abuse, emotional abuse, severe neglect were all happening. And obviously, a lot of corruption and exploitation. So that's how I started to learn the language and learn the reality that these children who are being mistreated actually have families, which led to the development of Little Footprints, Big Steps. But we've really grown. So we have just under 20 Haitian employees on the ground as we speak, working to reunite and support children and their families. And we work not only with children who are coming out of orphanages, but also children who are separated from their families in other means. For example, we do quite a bit of work with street children, where again, most of the children who are in the streets have parents, they have families, but their families can't afford to feed them and send them to school. And oftentimes those children are actually the main providers in their homes with whatever money they can get in the streets or through crime. So we do a similar process of reuniting those kids with their families and empowering the families so that the children can be children. We also work with children who are in what we call a restavek situation, which is modern slavery that still actually exists in Haiti to this day. And it is still similar to the orphanage system in that oftentimes families in the countryside who are struggling to care for their children will end up sending their child to live with a host family in a city, thinking that their child will have more opportunities and a better quality of life. But unfortunately, those children are often treated as subhumans, made to do all the chores in the household, and rarely can actually access education. And a lot of times when those children are referred to us, unfortunately, it's because there's been physical abuse and the neighbors have called the police, or the child has run away. So we work very closely with the local child protection authorities. And I'll mention that more later, but our main partners are actually Haitian Social Services and the Child Brigade, the Child Protection Brigade of the police. So to get into our work and our programs, Little Footprints, Big Steps has 7 different programs categorized in 4 different thematic areas. Just a little brain fart. So our main program within the thematic area of child well-being and development is family tracing, mediation, and reunification. And this is one of the programs that your club has supported through those proposals. So again, the main objective of our work is to reconnect children who've been separated with their families, and then provide the supports to address the root causes of separation so they can be empowered to stay together. So this program is really the process of actually tracing the family, so locating where is this child's family, mediation, preparing both the child and the family, and then reunification, so reconnecting them. And mediation also continues after the reunification. I always say that when the child is reconnected with the family, it's really just the first step in reunification. It's really just the start. And all of the supports that come after reunification are critical to ensuring that the root cause of why they were separated is addressed, which in most cases is poverty. But in some cases, there might be an unresolved conflict in the family. So that follow-up piece of mediation where our social workers and our team are just able to be a moral support for the family and help them redevelop their bond with the child is really important. Now, within our family tracing, mediation, and reunification program, there are cases where children cannot immediately be reunited with their families. It might be a case where the child's family is very far away. It might take some time to actually locate the child's family. With street children in particular, sometimes they need to address behavioral issues or medical issues before being reunited. There are other children, sometimes we work with, for example, victims of sexual assault, or even victims of physical abuse. And so it might be necessary for that child to have some psychological and medical treatment, even some legal appointments before they can reintegrate into their community. And for those cases, we operate a transitional safe house. So it's a safe space where we have staff 24/7 working to care for children and offer them kind of those first steps of healing and a secure place where they can be cared for while we seek a longer term solution. We're really clear that this is different than an orphanage because all of the children coming through the transitional safe house will eventually be either reunited with their families or placed in a foster family. So they're only in our care temporarily. And all of the children placed in our care are placed with us formally by Haitian Social Services. Even if our team, for example, discovers a child on the street who needs immediate care, we will take that child to social services and have them formally placed with us. And one of the projects that you supported was actually helping us operate our transitional safe house. And I can say that I think this is the first time that we've had a Rotary Club or any other entity actually support that aspect of our programming specifically. And it's a huge relief because it's a core aspect of what we do, but not always getting support easily for it. And in the past, we actually used to operate 2 transitional safe houses, one for boys and one for girls. Due to budget cuts, we had to reduce to 1. So now we can only receive 1 gender at a time. If we have boys, then we have to reunite those boys before we can receive girls, which doesn't cause too much of an issue because we do typically receive more boys than girls. However, there have definitely been situations where obviously if our capacity was greater, we could have intervened for more children at once. But having said all of that, it is making a huge difference, especially with the level of inflation, that we're able to continue operating the safe house with your support. And for the past year, we've almost always, I think, yes, we have always had children in the safe house. So there's a constant rotation. And having said that, it also provides employment. We have, like I said, 24/7 staff members, because sometimes it might be 11 o'clock at night on a weekend that social services is bringing us a child. There really is no time frame for this type of work. So as I mentioned, following the reunification, actually reuniting a child with his or her family, the follow-up supports are critical. And that's really where all of our other programming comes in. So once children are reunited with their families, we offer various programming to help ensure the sustainability of their reunification. So within that programming, we have educational and vocational training. We want to make sure that the children have access to education. So that includes paying their tuition fees, providing their school supplies, integrating them into vocational training to learn a skill that can help them generate an income if they're of age for that. And sometimes they also require literacy tutors, so we will hire someone in their community to work with them. Another program, and this, I think more and more I'm discovering that this is probably our most important program, is our Income Generating Opportunities program, which has 2 branches. We have business startup and then agricultural support. So it really depends on the family's situation, what resources are available to them, what community they live in, and what strengths or experience they already have. We find that our business startup program is most popular and extremely in demand right now. We have a very long waiting list of families eager to access this support. And I will say it's so important because if we want to support families in a way that is truly making a difference to them, they should eventually no longer need our support, right? We want to empower them to be able to care for their kids. And this is the program that really works towards that. So we have a staff member specifically dedicated to managing this business startup program, where he evaluates the families, their resources, their strengths, their experience. He provides training to them. And when we provide that business capital for them to start up a small business, he continues to work with them and ensure its success. And we actually provide the business capital to the families in multiple installments to ensure that as they manage their business and it starts to grow, they have that incentive and an additional investment to help it grow even further. And so that's that's the other program that your club supported through our proposals, which I was so excited to tell our team that we've already secured funding to integrate at least 10 more families in this program this coming fiscal year. Again, this is life-changing for the families. And the impact of providing a family with a means to generating an income, the impact is more than just economic. And the impact is more than just on that family. First of all, the one child maybe that we reunited with that family is not the only sibling in the family. So when we empower the parents and they have the means to look after their family, it affects not just that one child's quality of life, but all of the children in that family. And that family is engaging in and developing the economy in their community. So it also affects the community development in that area and in Haiti, which is a huge need right now. Yes, there's a need for emergency relief, but for long-term change, we need to help empower people to be self-sufficient. Not only that, but there's a social impact. And even within the family dynamic, when the parent is the one being the provider for that child, the parents actually step up in terms of taking responsibility for the child because they feel that they have the capacity to, and the child has an increased sense of respect for their parents because they see them as the providers. So this program is so important, and I can't tell you how thrilled we were that you chose to support it, because again, we have such a long waiting list for this program. In addition to that, we do provide housing assistance if children are reunited with families who maybe don't have adequate housing. That program is really based on our funding sources. When we have the funding to provide homes, then we can. For example, following Hurricane Matthew in 2016, and then the earthquake in 2021, through some partnerships, we were able to provide housing to over 20 families after the earthquake in 2021. But this really depends on our partnerships at that time. We also have programming in community reinforcement. So Little Footprints is part of a regional child protection group in which we do community trainings, raising awareness about prevention of separation, prevention of violence, children's rights, and other topics within communities. And we do that alongside other child protection organizations and government authorities. We also do quite a bit of medical support interventions, both for the families that we work with who have been reunited, and also other community members who maybe can't afford medical care, or especially given the current context in Haiti, who maybe can't access it. So we do quite a bit of interventions just in helping families get access to medical care. And then another big piece of what we do, which Sarah mentioned, is advocacy and awareness raising. And to me, it's so important that we address this on two different levels. One being with the community in Haiti, so that parents understand how much damage can happen when their child is separated from them and all of the risks that come along with that. And that's where we've seen entire communities decide that they will not give their child away. Mhm.
We're running out of time, and we just wondered if there was gonna be any questions, as we wrap up the meeting. So are there any questions from the floor for Morgan? Anyone?
I'm sorry, I could talk forever about our work, but I always find that a lot gets exchanged through question and answer periods.
Who is that person? Oh, yeah,
If
Kristen.
we had another minute, could she outline maybe one quick success story?
Morgan, did you hear that? Can you outline one quick success story in 30 seconds?
Yes. One of my favorite success stories to share is about a boy who I met in the orphanage that I lived in for 5.5 months in 2011. And this boy had actually spent 12 years in that orphanage, which was abusive and illegal. Eventually, he transitioned into our safe house and spent significant time there. And this is one of the children who I've seen go through the most amount of personal development, where when he first came out of the orphanage, he would feel sick and not know that he could ask to go to the hospital. He would feel thirsty and be sitting right beside me and not feel that he had the right to ask for water. So he really didn't know his rights. He was so used to being deprived and neglected. And there's been such a transformation that now he is actually one of our staff members. He's our child and youth mentor. He goes out into communities, training other children about their rights. He is the one, because he went through what a lot of these children did, who, when a child first comes into our safe house, sits down with them and helps introduce them to what their rights are. He was actually flown to Europe by Lumos to speak on stage with J.K. Rowling based on his experience of leaving the orphanage system to inspire other people. And I get emotional just thinking of it because I'm so proud of him and I've seen his transformation firsthand. But yeah, now he is actually one of our staff members working to reunite other children with their families.
Thank you.
Sarah, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Barrie, I'd like to thank you for your presentation and for your incredible work in Haiti. Morgan, your personal journey from a high school senior in Whitehorse to founding LFPS at just 19 years old is truly inspiring. Your work is a reminder of how one person's commitment can make a significant difference in the lives of many. Thank you again for sharing your story, and we wish you continued success in your mission to support Haitian families and communities. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
I also want to thank you for telling us what is happening with our money. You know, that's the magic of Rotary, is that us here in Little Barrie, Ontario, can have an impact on lives in Haiti and through your work. So thank you so much. There's a lot of need around the world. Certainly in Ontario there is, and so we're donating money to Feed Ontario in acknowledgement of your presentation today. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you again, Doug, as well.
Hey, next week's meeting, remember, where is it? Does anyone know? City Hall. The Rotunda, City Hall. Be there, be square, don't be here, you'll be alone. It's sad, it's pathetic. Go to City Hall, be happy. All right.